All right. Okay, we are live and let's get started. So
Yeah,
3,
man.
2, 1. All right.
Let the party start.
Okay, another episode of the things I wish I knew about money. I'm your host, Camille Smith.
And I'm your co-host, your boy, Dre. Another
All right.
Saturday. First, let me apologize to all our listeners and viewers and everybody for last week.
It was
We
both
never,
of us, though. It was
yeah.
both of us. Jeez,
We disappear on everybody.
my
But
bad.
we have some good stuff to talk about today in the personal finance journey, right?
Exactly. Yes, I'm glad you brought it up. I was like, should we not say it or say it?
Yeah,
My apologies. There were unforeseen circumstances that I
yeah,
couldn't get out of either. So yeah,
yeah.
but
I
I'm
know. I
gonna
mean, it
try.
happens, and I'm pretty sure the people and the things I wish I knew about money, um, they understand. And so those who are listening, oh, somebody on IG said they can't see me. I don't know. Hold
Okay.
on, let me see
Oh,
what's going on here. All right, can you see me now?
let's see.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so we're gonna be sharing my story today, and
Ray.
I'm gonna ask you some questions, and feel free to throw in your questions here on IG. Any question at all relating to
Exactly.
the personal finance journey. Um, so yeah, we got in store. We got in store for me.
Hold on, sir. Hold on, because when you have a dog, it has a mind of its own.
Yeah,
um, but yes, because I was able to talk about my personal journey, I was
right.
like, Dre, it would be so rude of me or rude
Yeah,
of us not to
not to share
share
my
your story.
story to the people. I
Yeah.
mean, that makes sense. I mean, my journey in personal finance was actually quite an interesting one, and I think I've talked about it in different spaces, but it'll be interesting to hear like some of the questions that are coming out today.
So
So how we gonna do this, host? Like, or should I just start talking, or you have like
how
some questions?
about I think when I did mine, I went based on just the things I learned throughout my
Yeah,
years, right?
yeah.
And let's start with, as a child, like what were you able to learn and everything?
All right, that's an interesting point. So for those joining on,
Mhm.
just joining on Instagram, so I'm gonna be sharing my journey in personal finance. Feel free to ask any question about investing or otherwise, because we are here to teach you the language of the wealthy and to share tips and insights. So for me, I think a lot of people already noticed that I grew up in Spanish Town, Jamaica. So big up to all the people from Spanish Town, big up to all the people from Jamaica and the
Ray.
rest of the Caribbean. My heart goes
Yes.
out to those in Haiti. There was a earthquake today.
Yes.
Thoughts and prayers with the people of Haiti. So
Mhm.
I grew up in a community that's not characterized, by wealth or anything like that. That was never really a discussion. I know the conversation was always about the hustle and making money and whatever. But in terms of like how that is done, or wealth was never ever a subject of conversation. I grew up with predominantly women. So I grew up with my grandmother, my aunt, my mother here and there, my older sister, and then my aunt's friends. So it was a house full of women. And all of them were entrepreneurial. My grandmother was like the biggest of all. So she had her convenience store in Jamaica, we call it shop. So
Mhm.
for those wondering. And then my aunt, like she is boss when it comes to business. She was managing rental business. She was managing, her Herbalife business and some whole heap other things. And then my sister was in school, but she was also entrepreneurial until, when she left school, she went into doing her own things.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, I literally put my family on a balance sheet to some extent. And I shared this joke before that my grandmother had an issue with collection. So my grandmother was the kindest person, and she will always give things on credit. And she was always having a difficult time collecting money, which then affect her business because you need money in business to make money. Then, all right, I'm not call no name, but one next family member, because no one then come to me, was never good at paying back their bills and paying on time. But I saw how that affected relationships in business. So I learned the importance of paying bills and good relationship with your suppliers and people that you owe from that.
Yes.
And then now, especially suppliers, right? And then now I learned, from another my aunt, the importance of expense management. That when money is coming, as money is going out, you need sufficient money coming in to either match what is going out or exceed what is going out to make a profit. True. So that's where it really started. And I think I put that into perspective as I got older, but it's never something that I've thought about in that sense.
Yeah. Hold on. He's driving me nuts. I'm so sorry.
All right, peeps on Instagram. So like I said, feel free to send in your questions. If you have a specific question for me this week about personal finance, and I'm going to share some stuff shortly about my journey. All right.
What other balance sheets? Because I know you don't want to expose the whole family.
Is that a balance sheet? I honestly, I feel like those are the most important ones. I think asset is another one because, and this probably came from my father, that he had a business that he was making a lot of money at, back then that was considered a lot of money. But as the money was coming in, I don't think he had an issue with expense with money going out. I think he had an issue with assets. He never acquired assets. He never reinvested back into the business. He never tried to grow the business. And I think that was problematic. And so, my grandmother always encouraged me to do accounting. She said I love money too much from I was because my first business was selling balloons in primary school. So if anybody here from Jamaica, the balloon named Chance, and how you get this big thing with balloon, and people had to pick a number, and whatever number they pick, that's where you pick the balloon. So I learned early from this guy in my community who had a disability how to manage that business effectively. I'm going to tell you how to manage that. The best way to manage that business is that when you buy the pack of balloon, you pick out the number 31, I believe, which was the biggest balloon on the pack. So that way nobody can win it, but people are motivated to buy it because they want to win it. So that's my first, as it relates to an opportunity in business, that was where I learned that first principle in business. And that was my very first business back in primary school.
So that's once again, this is for entertainment purposes.
This is for entertainment purposes. Don't go rip off nobody by pretending like the 31 is still there.
And it's okay because you were little, and then that actually shows that you have determination to do anything. So
absolutely. Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah.
So that was your first job when you were little. What about what was your first official job, as a teenager or a young adult?
My first official job, I would say, where I would probably say when I was in cadet and I came to Canada, and I came on an exchange program. We went to Alberta and we were staying at
Porting.
I think I want to say the no, it was the hotel. I want to say the Hobima Metropolitan Police. So it was a police training academy,
Okay,
and
nice.
we had the opportunity to work like as a first aid person. So you
Mm-hmm.
kind of like stand on guard kind of thing and like be available to help out
Attention.
whenever. Yeah, I know. And we had, I think we could make like 20 or $30 per night. And we were there for like 2 weeks. And I
Mm.
maximized working almost every night. I spoke to the guy that was like coordinating the whole thing, and I was like, hey, I really want to buy a laptop. This will be my first laptop ever. I really want to buy a laptop.
Yeah.
So I would appreciate if you give me like extra shifts. And he said, yeah, that's cool. We can give you extra shifts. And so I got multiple shifts, and I think I ended up making probably over 100 Canadian, and then I added some to it. And that's how I was able to buy my first laptop computer, well, my first ever computer in Alberta.
What?
And then I got a laptop bag from a Indigenous woman there.
Hmm.
I think her name is Debbie, if I'm not correct.
Okay.
And yeah, that was how I got my first laptop bag. So that was
That must have been a
super
great
cool.
experience.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
And
Oh. Did you go to Alberta when it was winter or summer?
so this will be summer, August, like
Okay,
early.
okay, not bad.
It
So
was
then
still
I take
cool.
back what I said. Oh, it's still
It was still
I,
cool. It was because me coming from Jamaica where it's nice and warm all year round, like even 13 or 14 degrees would be considered cool. Anybody here ever been to Alberta? I think if you've been to Alberta, you probably can relate that
true.
August is still
Especially
considered cool.
true. Imagine going to Alaska in June. Yeah, in June.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So welcome everyone. I see some people coming just joining. So you're on the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. Feel
Yes,
free
welcome.
to ask
Comment.
questions,
Yeah,
comment, like, subscribe, share, invite.
we could definitely see. I could definitely see it. So don't be shy. Don't be shy, everyone. And please like, subscribe, and
Yeah.
share.
And I can't wait till we get to the point where I actually talk about the wealth creation
Yes.
formula that I created, because it really captures the journey. And I want to shout out to Kurt. I think he helped me to perfect the formula. He literally sent me, I think it was a voice note or a message, and he's like, I think you should put money principle instead of investment and savings in bracket. But we'll talk about that and the importance of some of these concepts as it relates to building generational wealth.
Okay, congratulations. See,
Yeah,
Kurt,
thanks.
Kurt,
Yeah,
you're the real one.
he's insightful. He's a visionary.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that was your first job, and you were able to get a laptop and a bag and a free bag.
Free bag, yeah.
So what values did you learn from that experience overall?
I think the most important one is or ones would be to work hard for what you want. Don't be afraid to speak up and to ask, because I think sometimes that, like, I was there and I was hesitant and whatnot, but I went and I asked, and I think that can be translated into networking, because I was able to speak to this guy and he said, sure, you can work the entire time. And the other one, I wouldn't say this is definitely not the least important. I think it's probably is the most important, is that there are good people around you who are looking out for you. And I think Debbie was one of those persons. If her name is Debbie, I can't remember, but she gave me the laptop bag, and she came and she said, congrats. And she said, I know this is your first laptop, and this is your first laptop bag. I want to celebrate this moment with you. And it's really important for us because, and I want to touch on this point because I know we're in a time where, with people always talk about, oh, I don't need people, I don't need this or whatever. But there are genuine people out there that are celebrating with you, right? And you need to be able to separate those people from the others that you say, yo, I tried to tear them or whatever. And Debbie was one of those persons for me that was celebrating my success.
Thank you, Debbie. Debbie, right?
Thank you, Debbie. Big up yourself.
Yes.
Honestly, I hope it's Debbie. I don't know why Debbie come to my mind, but yeah. Big up her.
No worries, no worries. That is great. Also, I like how you said yes, when it comes to networking, especially,
Yeah,
and just like, oh, we don't need anyone, it's not true. When you
not
when
true at
you
all.
network correctly, you'll realize how, wow, if it wasn't for this person,
Yeah.
dang. And that's why I appreciate out of the most part. Let's see, what's the next step? So now you've gone back from the exchange to Alberta, back home. So were you able to bring those values back home with you? Of course you have, because I already know the
No,
story.
you know, when I went back home, it was us. I tell you, like, one thing I observe about Jamaica is that you're forever in a survival mode. If you don't be careful, you're stuck in that mindset for a while. And I
Mm-hmm.
I I, I came and I saw Canada is a beautiful country. I love Mother Nature. But then I went back and went back into my ways. I was just like focusing on trying to graduate. Like actually, at that no, actually that time I was focusing on university because that was
Yeah.
the August before I started the University of the West Indies. So I think at that time, now that I'm remembering, I was far more excited because I'm like, yo, I now feel like a university student because I'm going back with a laptop.
Nice.
Before, I
Yeah.
never had one. And I was told that yo, you need a laptop to really survive through university. So I was actually super excited to go to university that year. And with my pink and
Really?
white JanSport, that's the funny story. Yeah, my first school bag for university was a pink and white JanSport. That
Hey,
was the only
I ain't
one the
nothing
guy had
like
available at that was in my budget. And I'm like, you know what? We're not business. I care about them.
that. I'm glad you didn't think of it like twice just because it is pink and white. Listen, it's
Yeah,
still doing the same thing, right?
same thing.
It's carrying your books. Okay, so then now we go to you going to school, University of the West Indies. How was that
Mm.
experience?
Honestly, UE was pretty good. Um, yeah, I met some really. I mean, I don't think I am in contact with a lot of the people that I met there, but
Mhm.
I did connect with some great people. My other job that I ended up getting, like, which was teaching, I get tutoring on campus, was from people that I met at UE, and that was another way in which I was able to survive.
Yeah.
UE was hard. I'm not to lie, like moving from high school and then on a campus where party are going every week and beer excitement, carnival and whole heap of good looking people and all of these things. It's
Yeah.
and whole heap of
Now,
rich
oh,
people, everything.
so now
It
let
was
me ask you the
it was too
question.
much to digest.
Let me ask you the question.
Yeah.
And I'll answer it at the end because it's your story. Do you think um high schoolers that go straight to uni, do you think they should take a break or they should go straight into?
Me personally, I think well, I will go straight into because honestly, I feel like when I take a break, like it's so hard to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like you probably get a job or you get caught up in other activities and you just don't want to do it again. So I would say go straight.
Okay. I would I would agree. I would agree. Actually, I'll say
Yeah.
that. I agree because ooh, when you have that one break,
Yep. Break never ends.
it's just a
Question to
break
you
that
guys. Do
keeps
you think
going.
it's a good idea to take a break? Like for those leaving high school into uni,
Mhm.
do you think it's a good idea to take a break or they should just like finish everything and done?
I think what is it? A leap year? I think we used to call it or something.
Oh yeah, that's what I call it.
I believe so. Don't quote me. Don't quote me, folks. Sometimes I don't remember the
Yeah.
slangs. But I know some people that did it and were okay. And I
Right.
know my personality. Me,
Yeah.
I'd have been like, I ain't going nowhere. I'm good. Right. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like, geez.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think you have to choose what's best for you. And if you
right.
know you are not that person that's focused at that age, because we learn eventually. Because what I think I remember university seeing older folks And
Right.
the way that they projected the groups, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
shoot, okay, all right, I'm serious, just like you. Right?
Yeah.
So it's hard when you're 17, 18, 19 and trying to focus. And like you said, there's beautiful people, parties
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Jeez, it's a good thing I was
Yeah.
here. Huh?
Yeah. No, I mean,
I
because
was
even right now,
here.
like I kind of took a break,
Mhm.
from my program, and it's like really hard to like get back in that mindset. So I say, yo, like when I just go through and knock it out of the way, like
Yes.
it's way easier. Yeah, you
Way,
know?
way easier. Trust me, guys. Like I took a break too, like with my studies, but I just thought about it. I was like,
Right.
but you, we're on to you. So you just start university and it's really tricky. Um, you had a teacher that kept you going in accounting. Was that in
Yeah.
uni or was that in high
No,
school?
that was in high school.
Okay, oops.
Yeah.
That's part. That's
That
part.
was in high school. Big up to Mrs. Newman, by the way.
Eh,
Um, Big up to her.
mhm. So uni, how was uni
Hold on.
in Jamaica?
Everything blessed. So somebody just joined the live. University
Really?
was really good. I really enjoyed university.
Yeah.
So we have a listener and a viewer here with us on the live. Like I said, people, don't be shy. Ask any
Don't be
question,
shy.
anything about personal finance, investing. Um,
Mhm.
and perhaps maybe we should just jump in at the juicy stuff so that people like stuff what some of the adults them can relate to. Maybe then we have more questions. Um, so I like to share my journey from 2016.
Okay.
And
Oh,
when did you and I meet, Cam? Was it 2017, 2018?
I think it
When?
was no. Like
2019.
2019. Yeah,
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 2019. Okay, so that would have been 3 years after that tumultuous period in time. But let me, and then I throw it out there, and people probably have like specific question relating to different stuff.
yeah.
But when I came to Canada to like live and whatnot, like
Yeah.
I got in debt and with car loan, student loan, etc. And it wasn't an easy thing to carry. I believe in 2016 when like my housemate at the time lost his job and had to move out and whatever, and then the full blunt of everything come down for me. So I had to be paying rent for me and him. I had to be paying light, water, everything. And I still
Yeah.
had my car payment, still had to be paying OSAP, which OSAP is student loan in Ontario. And
Mm-hmm.
me not tell you, like, I was literally dying.
Damn.
And I needed an escape. And honestly, I was fortunate to really get a higher paying job. But the mistake that I didn't make this time was to start rack up more debt or
Yeah.
start live a more expensive life. Instead, I found ways to significantly reduce the amount I was paying each month. And I literally took my budget, right? I created my budget and I
Mm-hmm.
calculated how long it's gonna take me to get out of debt, right? And so once I got out of debt, I started thinking about wealth, right? Because it's one thing to get out of debt and you can continuously live your life and start save or whatever, but it's another thing to start talking about and thinking about wealth creation.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to simplify what is wealth. And when people think about wealth, it doesn't necessarily have to be $1 billion or a whole heap of million. It's just an asset that can be passed on from one generation to the other. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
size of your wealth is a different conversation. But as I started thinking about wealth and making money and philanthropy and giving back to the community,
Yeah.
I started listening to people in the different spaces and seeing how they think, what they do, what they learn. I kind of figured out for myself like what I call my wealth creation formula. And I'm going to share some of my successes before I go into the formula. So I've been able since 2016, I've been in so much debt to really structure my portfolio. And right now, my portfolio have a combination of stocks, both long-term and short-term. It has real estate. It has business. It has where I talk about royalty, like I've written my book. So I've been able to build a portfolio that is generating multiple streams of income. And
I have 4 up right now. I'm counting for you.
I think I went through all 7, right? There's capital gains, I make it earning dividend. So all of these good stuff. And the
last is interest.
Salary. So I still keep my job. Yeah. But I'm literally when it comes to wealth, the first thing that I realize, and this is how it fits into the formula if you want to truly build wealth for yourself, knowledge, right? And when I say knowledge, I'm talking about learning about personal finance, right? And personal finance, learning about debt, learning about investing, learning about mortgages, real estate, all of these things, taxation. So that's the first step, is knowledge, investing in yourself. And the other one is creativity. So this is what I'm saying. Wealth is a function of knowledge plus creativity. Now, the more creative you get with your money, the more likely you will see returns, right? So you have to think outside of the box. I was talking to this guy yesterday who called me up, who wanted to buy a property in Jamaica, and he's sharing what his plan is. When most people think about wealth and how to get there, they think linear, like it's a straight road. Oh, it's like Dora, I take out this map and I'm like going straight. No, it is not a linear process. You have to go through twists and turns. You have to go think about other ways to get back at the same location. So the more creative you can get with that, believe it or not, the more likely you are to be successful. So those are the first 2, knowledge plus creativity. And then this I multiply by what I call money principles. Now I'm going to break down these money principles that I've learned to be super effective, right? In terms of building wealth. And I'm not where I want to be, but these are things that I've realized that have been working for me, right? So what are the money principles then? The first one is savings. Now, the reality with savings is that a lot of the times when you save, you're earning at a rate below inflation, because the bank might give you like 0.something%. You're lucky if you get 1 or 2%. So the reality is that you're not going to be saving at a rate above inflation, and you want to be earning money above inflation, because if you're not, your money losing value. So now, in order to do that, you have to quickly take that money from savings and put it in investment, right? And that investment can be stocks, it could be bonds, it could be, some GIC might give you a higher return. You have to look at all the different investment products and which one is right for you. But investment generally gives a higher rate of return. Now, the other one is what they call OPM. I don't know if I seem like I'm having some technical issues here.
No.
Am I good?
Well, I can't see you, but I know on YouTube they can see you.
All right, perfect.
But it's all
OPM,
good.
right? Other people's money.
What?
Now, I know within our culture, as Black people, we not like debt, and rightfully so. There is some rationality to not liking debt or not liking other people's money, not like borrowing. The reason for this is because a lot of the times when we borrow, we put it into consumables. We put it on the credit card and we buy things that are not generating a return. If that is where you're taking debt to put it, then you're gonna have problem.
Yeah.
Right? The banks, they do this all the time. When you put your money in a long-term savings or whatever, the banks, they take it and they reinvest it and they make far more money. It's called other people's money. You have to figure out creative ways in which, so going back to creativity again, you have to think about creative ways in which you can use other people's money to make more money, right? Because enough people a lot of people are risk averse. And people will see and say, yo, Andre really good at what he's doing. So they're more likely to lend me. They'll come and say, yo, I'll give you 1,000 or 5,000, invest it on my behalf. And I can say, all right, I'm going to guarantee you 5%. But in reality, I'm probably making 20%. And and I'm benefiting from 15%, and I'm not putting in my own money. I mean, when you think about real estate, right? And I'll share like even my real estate journey in Jamaica. When you think
Mhm.
about real estate, it's a similar principle. If you buy a property and you rent it out, and
Yeah.
somebody paying the rent that is greater than your mortgage payment, that person is doing two things for you. The first one is that they're building equity that belongs to you, and then that is through paying back the mortgage and the property going up in value.
Yeah.
Secondly, they possibly, if they're paying more than the mortgage payment, they are generating a positive cash flow for you, which is another stream of income. That's OPM, right? Now, let's move over into OPT, other people's time. Now,
Mhm.
you know, we are not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'll tell you this, I probably make the most mistakes, but here's my thing. I fail and I fail quickly. So it appears as if I'm not failing.
Yeah.
I'm a person who embrace failure because I feel like it's a necessary part of any journey.
Okay.
But here's the thing about OPT. You have to figure out how to use other people's time to your advantage. So let's say I'm
Outsourcing.
good at, I don't know, I'm good at building something, but I'm not good at painting. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do? You're gonna find a painter, right?
Well, you know, I
I'm good
paid
at
you.
writing. I'm good at writing songs, but I can't sing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
find a singer,
Yeah.
right? So that's the idea behind other people's time, is that you have to find a way to get people who are good at other things, right? To help you to get to that next level. And in doing so, they benefit equally. Because that has to be an equal benefit, but you have to know how to use other people's time. So you have to be honest. You have to make an honest assessment of yourself and say, this is my weakness. This is what I am weak at. And for
Mhm.
me, I've identified a lot of my weaknesses, and I've said, you know what, perhaps I need to get somebody in this space, or maybe I need to form an alliance with somebody who is really good at that. So that's
Yeah.
other people's time. Now, the other point I want to touch, and I know I see you have a whole heap of questions, Camila. I have one more point under the money principle, is
All right.
value. Now, when you're looking at an investment, so not all investment, not all business relationships, not all partnerships
Mhm.
comes with value. So you have to be able to assess
Mm.
the present value as well as the future value. So you have to look at a particular business or situation and see how likely this is to compound and grow over time to make you more money. And
Yeah.
this is going to take you right back to knowledge, because the more you know about personal finance and investing, the
Mhm.
more you'll be able to assess value. Now, the most important variable in all of this is time. So the next thing is time, because the more you apply these concepts routinely and perfect it over time, it will compound. So let's say now I have 5 properties and I keep doing the same thing. Maybe
Mhm.
in 10 years, I'm gonna have 100 property, because over time it compounds. You perfect and you get better at it.
Yeah.
So this is what I call the Smith's wealth creation formula. And I literally studied the different money principles and how wealthy people think. And I have been
Mhm.
applying this principle religiously. And I've been seeing tremendous returns.
Nice. So there we have it, guys. So other people's money,
Yeah,
other people's time,
yeah,
values,
value, yep.
um,
Savings and investing.
savings and investing, yes, and then time. That's very
Yeah.
important. And I'm glad you started off with the savings and investing, because I
Yeah,
think what a lot of folks do, they save a
yeah,
lot. And it's okay with saving because you get the habit, right?
get to the habit. Yeah,
But you realize 5 years down the road, if anyone thinks about what happened 5 years ago when they saved all this money, but are you losing it with inflation, or is it gaining with compound interest and stuff? So you
precisely.
want to have that mindset to invest. So, and
Yeah,
Andre invests.
I
As you can
invest.
see, Andre invests. So
Yeah,
yeah, I just want folks to know, and remember, Andre's coming from Spanish Town, where
Spanish Town. Big up the Spanish Town peeps.
where he had to learn this little by little with all the knowledge that he's gained throughout the years of his life. So I just want everyone to remember that.
Yeah.
Us two are not silver spoon folks, right?
Yep.
So
From
just
nothing.
remember that. And so now we're here. Now we're at, so you got the high paying job. You were managing like you and your friend, roommate. And then you met a special someone in university. How did that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big part of the journey, like when I met my girlfriend, became my fiance, became my wife. She, I was able to stay by her mom's place, and I was able to, I was making payments, but like not the expensive payment that I was making prior. Like, so I was able to save a lot there, right?
Yes.
That was an opportunity for me, and I capitalized on that. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, that was integral to the journey, because, oftentimes you get the opportunities and some people either don't recognize them or they don't capitalize on it. And so my wife created that for me. So I'm eternally grateful for that, right? Because honestly, like when I was at Jane and Lawrence at that point, I think I was probably paying like almost $3,000 a month in different stuff. Yeah, because the flashy life, man, I tell her like, I tell her like, when I look back at some of the cologne and some of the shoes, they're there as a reminder. And I took picture of them because I was caught up in like looking rich, right? I was caught up in the idea of looking rich. But I started thinking differently, and I'm glad I got that opportunity that my wife created, because where I started thinking about wealth is that, they always say when you think about intergenerational wealth, all right, so when you think about being rich, you think about yourself. When you think about intergenerational wealth, you think about your family and family to come. And so that's what I've been thinking about.
Nice.
Because if
So
I can help, yeah, exactly. Because, and there are a lot of people, and that's why I started earlier the conversation. Say, you should recognize those people who are there helping you, because we often put everybody in the same category. There are people there that are part of the journey and supporting the journey as much as possible, right? So, build our thing. It's like it is a hard process, and I'm gonna share, like there are times when I break down. I'm gonna be honest. In my, as an investor, there are times when it gets really hard, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, it is a lot of work, because things are gonna constantly pop up. Just as before I came on this call, like I had to send one of my friend at the apartment in Jamaica because something was malfunctioning. So stuff always come up, right? And like every time you take on something new and something bigger, it creates a new reality. And right now, like you have a cleaner that you have to like train, you have to send instructions, you have to monitor, you have to supervise, you have an admin person there that like it. So it's like the more you start doing certain things, the more complicated things become, right?
Yeah.
So that is why it's really important to master your framework. So I know I talked about my wealth creation principle. Doesn't necessarily mean that your principle will look the same or your framework will look the same. But at the end of the day, it's really important that you have some type of framework, because it will help you to recover from a particular situation, right? So I just want to put that out there, because I know it's a lot of times people who've overcome certain things, and trying to inspire other people, the way how they present it. Me as a little youth, where I start out, I said, no man, there's no way we can do that. So I don't want to make it seem like it's smooth sailing for me. Like, it gets really hard sometimes. And go back to the knowledge piece. So this is why I've carefully thought out this formula, because when it gets really hard, you go back to knowledge, you go back to creativity, you go back to the principles that you've learned, and it will help you figure out a way.
And
That's the
on
light that shine on my eye.
No worries. Now, let's see. So so you had your first income stream earnings from a job.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you had to form another stream of income?
That's a good question. Honestly, a lot of, like, listen, like, you probably can call me a transformer since 2016, but honestly, like, reality hit me, because by 2016, I was probably like in Canada 6 years. And at that point, I was like, buddy, you come at this country, you get a unique opportunity, and you waste your time. When I look back, I realized, and I was looking around, I was like, damn, I got nobody to fall back on but myself, right? My family's in Jamaica, but they are depending on me, right? When I look around, my sister wasn't even here at the time. My younger brother, who, he was born here and whatnot, but he wasn't here. I was here alone. My great uncle was here, but him live with his wife, older guy, looking to retire soon. So it's like there was nobody to fall back on, really. And I said, I cannot continue like this. I have to put things in place. I have to start thinking differently. I need more money, because when I actually did my calculation, to get out of debt, when I put together my budget and I did my calculation, my salary was not enough to get me out in the time frame that I wanted to get out. So I said, the only way I can do this within the time frame that I want is if I start earning more.
Okay.
Right? And so that's when I started thinking about ways in which I can earn an additional source. Right? Now, I want to share another thing, important lesson that I learned. And people always ask the question, why is it that rich people go broke? Or how is it that rich people go broke? I used to ask that question. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why, but the most obvious one is that when a lot of people get rich, they spend on a lifestyle that they can make public. They spend on depreciating assets. They do not put money in compounding assets that can create multiple streams of income. So that's why a lot of people, you have some basketball players or some celebrity or whatever who bring in $5-10 million. And then they say, oh, them get broke. Because what they do, they say, so they buy one mansion for like 140 million or whatever. And then after that, it's just money and flashy lifestyle.
Yep.
There's no system and structure or framework in place to constantly bring in a stream of income and assets that will compound over time. And that is the obvious reason why a lot of people go broke. So if your situation now, people say sometimes, how do I know when to spot an opportunity? Again, you have to think creative. An opportunity could be that currently I'm making certain amount of money that qualifies me to buy a place. Or if I'm not qualified to buy a place within a certain radius of where I live, maybe I can go further out. Maybe I can go to another province, another state, another country, right? But that is a system that you're putting in place to build wealth. So you have to think outside of the box. Wealth creation is not a linear type of thinking. It requires a creative and an open mind.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And let's see. So 2016, Transformer. Year. So you were able to get that, and then you have the dividends, capital gains, and then I think that's when I think CIBC, when you won CIBC, do you think that's when everything like skyrocketed?
When I win the CIBC, the CBC award. Okay.
CBC, sorry. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love to win an award from CIBC too. But I think that that definitely propelled a lot of things, especially in terms of flip and floss. And it did help me to start thinking more about a lot of things, because now I felt like I had a duty to start educating more people about personal finance, and in doing so, I felt like I needed to learn more myself, right? So I feel like that was a big part of helping me to get out there, and helping me to started thinking even more creatively about my
Yeah.
finances. Yeah.
Hold up. Ladies and gentlemen, Andre's a low-key celebrity. So while you can get a
I don't know about
signature.
a partner. I don't know about a partner still.
Joking, I'm joking, I'm joking. But ooh, funny story. I did have someone, I think the last episode we did, they really want to hang out with you, but they live in the States. So I mean, when things go back to normal-ish.
Where is it in New York? Because I'm planning a random trip to the States. I just don't know where I'm gonna go.
New York. I had to double check with him. I think he's more south. I
So
gotta double
okay.
check. Yeah. But we're not going to the States till things cool off and
I know. It's
but I love everyone that's in the States. You know, we gotta big up y'all. Actually,
yeah, man, big up the people in the States. And
um,
I actually got a pretty interesting topic that we can probably discuss next week and get the viewers them for like chime in on it. But it's around the like I think the questions something about Airbnb arbitrage. So like thinking about like investment in Airbnb and like there are changes in certain cities. So like for instance, Toronto, like they are considering different ways to outlaw it and whatever.
mhm,
So we can have like multiple conversations around it, whether or not it makes sense. It's
yeah,
a good investment. And again,
love to hear about that
every
one.
city can have their rule, but yeah, I think that was be something good to explore because like my Airbnb in Jamaica, the rules in Jamaica are obviously different. I don't think Jamaica gonna start clamping down on Airbnb anytime soon. I hope not.
It's making money.
Fingers crossed. But
It's making
yeah, that would
money.
be an interesting topic to explore.
Yeah, because and we won't go with timeline per se, but that's one of your last streams of income that you were able to retrieve. How was that aspect?
I mean, it was
Was it easy or was it kind
no,
of tricky?
it was tricky. Like honestly, it was hard because um, I think one of the hardest thing about acquiring properties, it requires a lot of capital. It's not
Mhm.
cheap. You need money. I mean, bottom line.
Yes.
But there are so many things that you have to consider. There's
Mhm.
a lot of documentary requirements. There are a lot of legal requirements. Doing things, cross-border transaction is never easy. Here I can
True.
easily go to my lawyer's office or wherever and say, hey, I need to do this or so and so.
Yeah.
Of course, when you're doing business cross-border, it can be more complicated. So it definitely wasn't easy.
Mm,
But it was a great learning experience, to be honest.
yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic for all your income streams, and it keeps me motivated. I'm like, oh
Big up me income stream them.
yeah. Right? Right.
And link us up people like we can talk about how to go about like creating different streams of income.
Exactly.
And when we talk about different streams, it doesn't have to be big. Like you don't have to be like 5,000 a month or 2,000 or whatever. It's small. Like I think start somewhere. I
Yeah.
always tell people when I started investing, I started with 90 Canadian dollar. I will never forget that. I will never forget the $90, and I will never forget Morando, who taught me about investing, because that's where I started.
Mhm. Wow. $90. See, folks?
Nine,
And then the joke is it's easier now to start with $90, depending on which
yeah,
platform you're with. Because I
right,
know everyone and their mama loves Wealthsimple.
right,
And cool, Wealthsimple is a great step, like to get your feet wet, but then you'll start to realize that there's so much limitation. I want to do more. And then
yeah,
you come talk to us. And don't worry, we might get an episode about that too,
yeah.
which ones to choose or
To choose,
see.
yeah. We
Um,
should definitely explore some of those.
yeah, but I think it's best that we have, like, I don't know about you. I think we mentioned it earlier. I don't have all of them, but I know you have different ones than I do. So it'd
Yeah,
be cool to, compare and contrast and then add and bring others on. So whoever's on your IG and whoever's on
yeah,
YouTube, come chat to us. We want to know.
Definitely want to know, yeah. And I want to bring people's attention. So we're going to put on an event for Financial Literacy Month. That is in November. I'm going to keep bringing it up. But the idea behind that is to get people in the BIPOC community to start thinking about fintech, right? So it is a niche for fintech because it is it's part of the future. I mean, hybrid workforce as well. But we have to start getting our youth to talk about fintech and how they can get involved, what it is, things like that. So that is coming in November. So stay tuned.
Yes.
And what is coming again is that we're going to be running a series of workshops and different topics. Most of them are going to be free. So look out for them. Cam and I and other people from the community, we're going to keep bringing the knowledge to the people, right? Because a lot of what I am sharing, I never had. I had to figure out a lot of these things for myself. But the good thing, I was always thirsty for information. So I'm always seeking out information. I'm always trying to go into different spaces, hear from different people. One of my most favorite quotes is, listen to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. And I feel like Cam probably know me so well because she hear me repeat all of them things all the time. So it's not like I'm just making them up, but you see me?
It's true. It's true.
We're gonna keep sharing the knowledge.
Right? Exactly. And like, Andre knows so much. Andre knows a lot, like, and he's experienced a lot. And I'm just glad that we had the thought process to actually have people hear your story, because your story is needed, and my story is needed, because it's just like, people think that only the rich get rich.
Yeah.
And it's not true, because you have to once again, you have to change your mindset. You see how he was Transformer?
Yeah. Mindset
I'm gonna
is
keep
everything.
saying that. Transformers.
Yeah.
In order to get what you want, you have to make some sacrifices, and you gotta seek those 100%. Opportunities and network, and then start and form a wealth creation like Andre did.
100%. I completely agree.
I mean, I try.
I mean, you're doing good. You're on your way. You have your
trying. And like I said, if they're all things go well with what's in the back ends, wow. Well, I have a story for y'all soon.
I think we all have a story.
Right?
And believe it or not, like, sometimes we think our story is not as big as another story. You can never compare two stories. And as small as you think a story is, it can be very impactful to somebody else. I learned that actually from what the guy the name, the founder of Blackish, Kenya Barris.
Yeah.
No two stories are the same.
That is true.
But every story can be very impactful, right? No matter how large or small you think it is. I used to think that my story cannot inspire or can't do anything. And then I started sharing my story, right? So there is power in telling our story, whatever the story is. We all have one.
And he shared it in a book. And don't forget, like I said, Andre's a celebrity. He's an author too, guys.
Dr. Smith, eh? The author. So yeah, the book is here. Actually, I'm just partnering with my former manager. Nice. We're going to be distributing some of these books in Jamaica.
Where's my horn? The whole episode.
I have a good friend here in Toronto that's doing the same. He's already distributed over 10, and he's requesting 10 more copies. Because the idea is that we want to inspire you from the ghetto, right? Or beyond. I literally have so many people that connected with me on a personal level, and they're like, yo, honestly, a story touch up certain place, because I could relate to it so much. And the thing is, I was so raw in the book, in open up about certain things, like when I beat around a bush, when I grow in a corner, sweet talk. Like I tell it as it is,
Yeah.
right? And I think people really appreciate that, right? So
And that's what we
get your
need.
copy, connect with me on a personal level,
Yeah.
connect with Camille. We are
Mhm.
both here to share the story. Them.
Exactly.
All right.
There we go. And folks, it's a pleasure every week. We will try our best
Mhm.
to stay
Good
consistent.
life after me.
Even if we can't get to y'all like live,
Mhm.
we'll try to do like a recording and premiere it on Saturdays, or we'll even do a blast from the past. I think from the looks
Yeah.
of it, people are liking the blast from the past, and I'm glad you guys like it. But
Yeah.
let me tell you the story. Before, when we weren't live, we didn't care how we look, especially me.
The light disturb me. Hold on there.
Oh no. So like if y'all watch the YouTube lives and or not the YouTube lives, the YouTube uploads that are blast from the past, don't laugh at us, okay? Hey,
We have to start somewhere.
I didn't know we were going to show the recordings. So yeah,
I think the people they appreciate the authenticity,
exactly. That too. So at least you guys get to know the real us, you know?
Yeah. And one more thing, people vote. Vote for me in
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
top 25 immigrant award. The deadline for that is September 17th.
September 7th.
So I was nominated by Daniel. So a big shout out to Daniel for that nomination. And I made it in the top 75 because of the work that I've been doing around financial literacy and other things as well. So yeah, like I really, so those who already vote, thank you. Those who already shared, thank you. Go ahead and vote so that I can make the top 25.
Send me the link and I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it on YouTube.
All
So
right.
everyone, start watching us live or watching us after. You can see our beautiful faces, or you can continue to listen. But we want you guys to watch us on YouTube. All right. So make sure you subscribe, you share, and just follow and just comment. Y'all don't have to be shy. Okay, comment. Andre, is there anything else that you'd want to tell them about your story? Like what's in the future? What's in the future of things to happen? Because I think I mentioned that.
I mean, first off, my little investor just joined. He's like I always talk about my analyst. Say hello, Papa.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you? All right, bye-bye. So that's my young investor. But honestly, I think the two biggest, well, three I'd say, to continue to like grow my investment portfolio and knowledge.
Yes.
And the second one is to bring people along. Some people believe in like getting there and then helping others. That's fine.
Yes.
But my philosophy is bringing people along. That's just me.
True.
And thirdly, to continue my philanthropic efforts. So like my scholarship program that's going on and other things. And like when Nathan reached a certain age, can take over. Probably can take over from 5, and then he can go retire. What about you? Like, what about you?
I need to get back into studying because I realize the things I'm like doing now, I want to just continue to learn and to share it with the folks. And I need to network more or collaborate, especially with fixing up my website and things. But and also learn new ways of gaining money. That is my main focus, so I can take care of the family and more. I have some big shoes to fill, I've noticed, so I got to keep at it, so the stress level is low.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Maybe one of them shoes I might just get take off and give. Ah, you can never tell.
Right? And then what
Yeah.
else? There's one more thing. We want 1,000 views, folks. I just remembered.
Help
We
us to
want
bring it there.
1,000 views. So remember how when we had 1,000 listens, we did a live? So with 1,000 views, we will do a giveaway.
Yeah. That sounds good. Love it. Love it.
And you know, this is episode 39, and we've been doing this for almost a year. And honestly, this is one of the best things I've been doing in this year and stuff. So I appreciate you, Andre, for sharing your story and letting me and allowing me into your life so your story can be told and everything in other aspects, because obviously you have a book. So yeah, I just wanted to say I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I appreciate you as well for your inspiration and your vision around this podcast, right? Like you conceptualize it, you brought the idea to me, and I, given the fact that I love personal finance, I was quick to say yes. So I think we make a good, we don't call that no, we not even know if we call that, but partnership, yeah. We are take it to the people, yeah. But yeah, man, like, I'm not really good on them thing, yeah, them soft talking, but yeah, man, people don't understand. Cam and I are gonna continue to like do what we do best, right? And personal finance. And on that note, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna come back next week and we're gonna fire up some discussion around Airbnb and what's going on in the Airbnb landscape, because a lot of people some people are saying it's not a good time because pandemic changed travel. People are not traveling. Some people are saying it is a good time because it's gonna pick up. We don't know. We are going to explore that conversation next week, right? So make sure you come, bring a friend, tell a friend, bring everybody, because it is going to be a really good discussion.
Exactly. Hold on. I'm trying to find the song. You would have think.
Money boss soon.
Yeah, you see it. Hold on. You would think I would have found it from before, but I was just so engulfed into our conversation.
It was a good conversation. So no surprise there.
Ah, man. Oh, I know how to find it. Sometimes you guys have to star what you want so you can find it later. Oh, I can't find it.
Instagram. So we're gonna wrap up. So feel free to send me a question about investing, personal finance, whatever the case is. We are speaking the language of the wealthy. Like I said, next week we're going to talk about Airbnb. So join us then.
You see it. Oh no. Do you have the song by any chance? Just in case?
No, we can't wrap it up without it.
All right, folks. I'm so sorry, guys. You would think I would have the song ready like Freddie, but sometimes, you can't find what you want. You just gotta make it.
Part of life. All right.
It is a part of life, okay? But next week we will have the song, but you already know that we appreciate y'all. We just want to keep giving to the community. Share, like, subscribe. All right, folks? Is it.
All right.